Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of my Today's Fitness podcast. My name is Sestrin. I'm a certified personal trainer through the National Academy of Sports Medicine. In the podcast, we're going to be talking about fitness research, fitness tech, and fitness questions from social media. Let's get right into it. Hopefully you enjoy it. Okay, so first we're going to get into the fitness research, check out studies, that kind of things. Let's see what we find. Alright, so the first research I want to talk about is a study on a protein called Sestrin. It was done by the University of Michigan, and I found it on ScienceDaily.com. So basically, they found a protein called Sestrin. It accumulates in the muscle mass after exercise. They did a test on flies and mice. So the flies were tested for 3 weeks on some kind of makeshift custom fly treadmill, as badass as that sounds. So flies were bred without Sestrin, flies were bred with just normal levels of Sestrin, and flies were bred with overexpressed levels of Sestrin. So the regular flies, they improve normally as anybody else, just running on a treadmill over time. The crippled flies with no levels of Sestrin showed 0 improvement, and the overexpressed flies didn't show improvement either, but this is where things get a little weird. They essentially became super flies. They didn't show improvement because their levels of cardio were already extremely high to begin with. So in that small little fly study there, they showed that Sestrin is related to cardio, for one thing. So the next one was mice. So mice bred without Sestrin, it lacked improvements in aerobic capacity, respiration, and fat burning from exercise. So that also shows that it's linked to other benefits from exercise. If you don't have it, you don't get those benefits essentially. This same study also cited that there was a test on how it can battle muscle atrophy. So like when you have a muscle in a cast and you can't move it, typically that muscle goes away, it deteriorates, atrophy. Well, Sestrin actually battles that and prevents it. So there's a lot of applications with this. Of course, there were a few things I'd worry about in the study before you go out there and try to make your own Sestrin. So of course the studies were on flies and mice. They may or may not show significant difference in humans. So take it for how you will. It could apply exactly the same to us. It could not. Further testing has to be known about it before they can do that. But it's very interesting nevertheless. But I want to talk further about the applications. First of all, it sounds a lot like steroids. It's an unfair advantage. You don't work out and you can build muscle just like that. You don't work out and you can maintain your muscle. So would it be even allowed to be in things like sports? What kind of applications would it have in real life? Would it be morally right to do something like this? A lot of people always want to go down that route. Personally, I would just say whether it's fair or not. I just don't think it's fair competitively. But it does have a lot of potential benefits, such as helping crippled people. Not easy for them to build muscle, like if they're paralyzed from the waist down, leg muscle, that kind of thing. But I'm very interested in the future changes because of this, how it improves the general health of society. A lot of people are just not going to exercise. A lot of people just aren't going to, go out there and do what you got to do to stay healthy. So this might be a way to circumvent that, whether that's good or bad. But yeah, we're actually quite a bit away from that to make synthetic versions of this. But yeah, remember that Sestrin improves your muscles without actually having to do any work. Keep that in mind. So the study showed how significant this one protein is in physical improvement and maintenance. Okay, the next study I want to go to is a little bit simpler. It was done by ACE. It's a cardio machine study. It's on acefitness.org. So it was done with 16 healthy adults between age 18 and 25. They did an effort rating of 6 to 20 on the following cardio machines: treadmills, step mill, exercise, fan bike, elliptical, upright bike, arc trainer, rower, stepper, the recumbent bike, and the arm ego meter. So the exercise was at 3 levels that they tested this with on that same scale, from 11, 13, and 15 per machine. Each session that they did had 2 machines in a random order, and there was 48 hours minimum between sessions. among other things like 15 minutes between the first machine and the second machine. The following data was recorded: heart rate, RPE, oxygen consumption, energy expenditure. So there was a numerous amount of things tracked. What they found was that the calorie burn from the highest to lowest, exactly the same order I just mentioned before, highest being treadmill, and then it goes down to step mill, exercise fan bike, elliptical, upright bike, arc trainer, rower, stepper, recumbent bike, and the very lowest was an arm ergometer, because there's not as many muscles involved. So of course there's a little bit of issues here. For example, the low sample size. A lot of the factors in here were randomized, but because it was such a small sample size, it could easily be skewed. Versus if you had a sample size of like 1 million people, randomizing it would pretty much eliminate that little skew. I also see an issue with the 2 exercises per session. Of course, the second one you might be more tired than you were with the first one, as well as 1 session of 2 exercises, 48 hours later you do another 2 exercises. It allows for a little improvement between there. So there's going to be a difference in your little fitness level. As small as it may be, there will be a difference, and that could slightly change the results. I'm not a scientist, but there would be differences there. But regardless of all my personal concerns, of course this was just a simple study checking calorie burn. So if you want to be efficient on your workouts, it could be a good start to try the seemingly higher burning machines. Doesn't hurt to go check them out. Alright, the third study I want to go over is snacking effects internal feeding schedules. It was done by the University of Virginia, and it was found on ScienceDaily.com. So basically what they found was there's a link between dopamine, which is released in your brain, and your biological clock. So they did a study of mice in 3 groups. Group A had fatty foods that were calorie dense that were available 24/7. Group B had normal feeding habits similar to mice in the wild, and Group C had their dopamine signals blocked. So Group A became incredibly unhealthy. They were the ones with the 24-hour dense calories access. So they constantly snacked, leading to numerous health issues such as obesity. Group B maintained normal eating habits and exercise levels. They were the ones that were like wild mice. And Group C had the same as B, even when high-fat foods were present, normal eating habits, all that kind of stuff. And they were the ones with the dopamine signals blocked. So what they found from this was that dopamine signals brain to seek higher calorie foods at any time, and fatty foods were also found to become easily stored as fat between meals. So what this means, if everything was conducted fairly and correctly and the results would apply to similarly to humans, is that we, as a culture, are extremely vulnerable to snacking that could lead to obesity. A lot of easily accessible foods that are very delicious are very high in calories in small sizes, such as cans of soda and candy bars. What I would suggest is to cut down on the sugary drinks, snack a lot less if you currently snack frequently, and find healthier, lower calorie foods to eat in between meals, such as fruit and vegetables. With discipline and patience, you might just find that your eating habits change and your health improves significantly. Of course, like any other study, there may have been issues in data. There's already strong research against eating high fatty and sugary foods to begin with. It wouldn't hurt to cut out on them anyways, so go ahead and do that. Alright, so the next segment we're going to be talking about fitness tech. It's going to be a little quick one, so let's jump right into that. Doesn't hurt. The third and final segment, we're going to be answering a couple questions from social media, in this case Reddit. It's going to be some fitness related questions that apply to these people and maybe they even do to you, so keep listening to hear them out. All right, the first piece of technology I want to talk about is the mirror. It's actually one that interested me a lot, so I wanted to bring up this one. But the mirror is a cool looking device. It's going to enter people's homes. Looks pretty sleek and seemingly blends into your home. So the following features are what I found on their website. It has certified trainers to provide motivation and live feedback. It has adjustments based on goals, preference, and profile. It has a music playlist. Measures heart rate with a Bluetooth device. Allows you to compete with your previous achievements, and it tracks your results. So the idea is cool. Has a lot of nice features, not very different from having a personal trainer. Nothing really separates it from that idea, but I do want to say it looks extremely convenient if you don't have time to go to the gym or schedule time-specific sessions with a trainer. You can control everything with an app to add the convenience factor as well, keeping your expensive mirror clean. Speaking of which, the mirror comes out to $1,500 plus any other equipment you decide to buy, because you can only get so far with bodyweight exercises anyways. Very interesting idea, and the more normalized things like this become, they might be a staple in people's homes in the future, so watch out for that. You might end up having one. All right, second piece of technology I want to talk about, body fat scales. So body weight scales are one of the first things you should buy when you're trying to improve your health. You shouldn't strictly rely on the number it gives you, as there are other factors to take into account, such as your body fat percentage and muscle mass that paints a bigger picture of your body composition and health. They actually do sell scales that advertise giving data on this, so you can find them easily online or in various stores. Most of them give you your weight, fat percentage, muscle mass, and BMI. But the big issue with these is that they tend not to be very accurate. First of all, BMI is not a very good at telling any advanced things on your health, so I wouldn't pay much attention to that in the long term. I just want to mention that. But regardless, the main selling point, fat percentage, can vary greatly when using these. They are somewhat okay for seeing a general range, but if you're looking for 100% accuracy, don't put your hopes up on a body scale. Please, it's not really going to do you right in that. But most scales send a signal that will scan your lower half of your body, giving a scan of mostly just your legs. Data can also be ruined by held water, so a lot of things can go wrong there. Try one out for yourself if you want. The most important thing that I find about being healthy long term is just finding what works for you as an individual. There could be other factors that lead to your success and health. You never know, maybe all these numbers on the scale motivates you every single day. So try it out if you want to. Doesn't hurt. So the first question, these are all going to be from Reddit. So it's titled, how to measure how much to eat in terms of carbs, proteins, and fats. So usually I'll eat how much I feel like eating, but I'm unsure if I'm eating the max or minimum amount of calories. Are there any good resources to find this? So first, to simplify things, what the individual is referring to are macros, carbs, proteins, and fats. He also mentioned how many calories to eat, which is what I would start with. So find a calorie calculator online. It'll give you a maintenance level of calories to stay at the weight you are at. This is an estimate, so to lose weight, cut 500 calories from the given level to lose 1 pound per week, and vice versa if you're trying to gain weight. From here, you want to strictly record how many calories you eat per day as well as your weight. Over time, you'll see a trend, and you can adjust your calorie needs from there. As for your macros, the Institute of Medicine of the National Academies recommends 45 to 65% of your calories should come from carbs, 20 to 35% from fats, and 10 to 35% from protein. In people looking to build or maintain muscle, it's actually extremely common to see something like 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. It's 20 to 25% of your calories coming from fat, and then the rest coming from carbs. Your calorie needs can be different, so I would recommend talking to a certified nutritionist first if you have any concerns that make you feel uncomfortable with all this dieting and adjustments and macros and all that kind of stuff. All right, the next question is titled, how can I go on a weight gain diet with a budget of $20 to $30 a week? And then it simply says, I'm broke. So unless you're looking at getting supplements, fat drinks, or processed food products, it's not as difficult as it may seem. The following things can fit in this budget: chicken breast, fruit, vegetables, beans, rice, eggs, milk, and maybe even some brands of nuts, to name a few. So from that little sample size, your protein comes from the chicken, beans, eggs, milk, and nuts. Your carbs come from the fruits and veggies, as well as the beans and rice. And then your fats come from fruits like avocado, also the eggs, milk, and nuts. A very big benefit that you probably didn't think of from eating on this low budget is that you are actually forced to eat healthy. So you'll be consuming unprocessed foods, and this will only benefit you by keeping you satiated and greatly lowering your sugar intake, for example. There's of course many other health benefits to this. So make sure your food lasts long, keep it correctly stored, and if you want to make it really last long so you don't waste anything, thus wasting your money, I always strongly suggest to meal prep. Once you finish your prep, you can freeze the pre-made meals, and it will greatly increase the lifespan of the meals and save you money in the long run. This might seem bland, but there are various foods you can make with these ingredients, like smoothies, omelets, chickens with sides like fruits, beans, or the rice, steamed vegetables on rice, homemade salsa. Most of these foods can be paired together as well. So don't let money be a factor in your health. Do your research, and you can find a way to be fit and save you money at the same time. It's doable. Hey guys, you were listening to today's fitness podcast by me, Jesus Reynoso. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to whatever platform you're on to continue listening and be notified for the next one. But anyways, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I love you guys, and good luck on your own goals.